If storms alone destroyed wood, medieval Europe would have collapsed every winter. Instead, timber-framed houses stood through centuries of rain, snow, gales, and freeze-thaw cycles. Roof beams flexed but did not fail. Posts darkened but did not rot. This durability was not the result of better forests or mystical craftsmanship. Medieval builders relied on a deceptively simple trick that modern construction abandoned. They built wood that expected to move, get wet and dry again, and they prepared it so that those cycles made it stronger rather than weaker. The medieval trick treated storms as part of the design, not a threat. Modern building treats storms as disasters to be sealed out. Paint, membranes, and rigid barriers aim to lock wood in a dry state forever. Medieval builders knew this was impossible. Water always finds a way in. Their goal was to ensure that when storms passed, wood released moisture quickly and returned to a stable state without internal damage. This philosophy governed everything from timber selection to roof design. Wood that dries fast does not rot, even when repeatedly soaked. This was the core insight behind medieval durability. Timber selection and cutting season removed weakness before construction. Medieval builders chose trees that grew slowly under competition. These trees produced dense fibres and narrow growth rings that resisted water penetration. More importantly, trees were felled during winter dormancy. Sap levels were low, sugars were minimal, and moisture content was reduced before the timber was ever shaped. This mattered because, well, fungi feed on sugars. By cutting in winter, medieval builders starved decay before it began. Modern forestry abandoned this practice for efficiency, not because it failed. If you cut or source wood today, selecting winter-cut or air-dried timber immediately improves storm resistance. One of the least discussed medieval practices was soaking timber before use. Logs were submerged in rivers or mill ponds for months or even years. Cold water leached out sugars and starches while leaving structural fibres intact. This reduced decay fuel and made the wood less appetizing to fungi. Soaked timber also behaved differently during storms. It absorbed and released moisture more evenly, reducing internal stress. For modern builders, soaking posts or beams before drying them slowly can dramatically extend their life, especially in exposed environments. After soaking, timber was dried slowly under cover with airflow. This process could take years. Slow drying allowed the cell walls to compress evenly rather than cracking. The result was denser, tougher wood that resisted splitting during storms and temperature swings. Modern kiln drying removes moisture too fast, leaving wood stressed and eager to reabsorb water later. Air-dried wood weathers storms far better. Fire hardened the surface against wind and rain. Medieval builders frequently used controlled fire or smoke to treat wood. Light surface charring sealed pores, killed surface organisms, and reduced moisture absorption. It also toughened the surface, making it more resistant to driving rain and wind abrasion. This technique is easily applied today. Light charring, followed by brushing and oiling, creates wood that shrugs off repeated storms without degrading. After drying and heat treatment, medieval wood was treated with oils, tallow, waxes, or tar. These substances penetrated deeply and remained flexible. They repelled water without sealing the wood completely. Moisture could enter and exit slowly without becoming trapped. Warm oil applied to warm wood penetrates best. Reapplication over time strengthens protection rather than weakening it. Design choices ensured storms never lingered. Roofs were steep, Overhangs were deep. Posts were raised on stone. Joints encouraged runoff instead of pooling. Airflow was constant. These design choices matter more than coatings. Elevate wood, slope surfaces, and allow air movement. Storms cause damage when water lingers, not when it passes through. So, medieval builders, well, they absolutely expected maintenance. After storms, structures were inspected, you know. Any small damage was repaired early on. Oils and tars were renewed regularly. This sort of thing prevented minor issues from becoming, well, serious rot. You know, modern construction promises maintenance-free performance, and yet, more often than not, it delivers hidden decay. On the other hand, medieval practice really embraced care, and that's what achieved longevity. The medieval trick was not just a single treatment, but more of a way of thinking. Prepare wood properly. Let it move. Let it dry. Maintain it. This approach, well, it allowed timber to survive hundreds of storms and still carry weight centuries later. For survivalists, builders, and serious students of history, this knowledge actually offers independence from fragile modern systems and, you know, a proven path to durability using simple materials. If this exploration deepened your understanding of medieval building wisdom, support in the beginning by subscribing, sharing this with fellow history enthusiasts, and helping preserve serious historical knowledge for future generations.